So I'm very interested in bringing together different ideas, and I found the scenario process was great for that. You wouldn't just stick in your familiar silo of economics. You'd be talking to people outside your area of expertise and getting different perspectives, and that's really enriched my writing.
I think there's an enormous necessity for this kind of approach because our futures right now are unpredictable. Perhaps the worst temptation in scenario planning is to think that it's about the future. It's really not. It's really about the present. It's about how you make decisions now.
Scenario planning can be used for multiple purposes. I think the most common one that I see and that we participate in is simply stress testing an existing strategy. Secondly, you can try to come up with new growth options, not the existing strategy, but make the strategy better. And thirdly, you can use it to just educate people in the organization so you have a framework for better dialogue.
Shell scenarios are a unique source for all of us who think about the energy future. Like all good scenarios, and indeed many of them built on that model, they're not predictions, they're a vehicle for telling stories. But the stories they tell to change the picture of reality in the minds of the leaders reading them are often provocative, fresh, and of course the underlying trick is to choose the axes correctly. That's the hardest part. Once you ask the right questions, the answers tend to become self-evident. I think it's been a vital intellectual contribution to the world of energy. I can't imagine our having the progress that we now see in the global energy transformation without this important foundation.
Well, Shell has played a very critical role, especially in the early years, in helping the Singapore government develop scenario planning as a basic tool for strategic planning. Without scenario planning, we would not have gone as far as we've come in terms of our ability and capacity to plan for the future.
You start from the premise of not what you know, it's what you don't know, and plan for those uncertainties. So scenarios became part of everybody's planning processes in South Africa. Soon after the Montfleur scenarios, trade unions, the NUM, COSATU were using it in their organizations. But what it allowed the government to do, and the people of South Africa, is to think about the future from the same premise. All that Shell wanted to say was that we have a tool, and the methodology that we use in scenario planning can be used anywhere in the world.
I think it has been used by a number of companies for complex issues where you need to find a language to talk about things. So what Shell started once upon a time has spun off a whole industry, and you have given us a picture, a story about the future world that is highly relevant for our thinking about the OECD.
The standard of living is rising in the developing world, and with that, the demand for energy will grow as well. So if there's one word to describe the future of energy, it's bright, but complex. Preparing for different futures does not require upfront investment right away. It requires intellectual preparation.
I think what these scenarios do is to make you realize that there will be many unexpected developments. The one that's obvious today is the fact all over the world now we're having shale developments for both oil and for natural gas, which has changed the structure, oil and energy developments worldwide. I think it's essential that we keep looking for oil and gas. And luckily, in the United States, we found oil and gas unexpectedly. When I say unexpectedly, and even in the most interesting scenarios, 10 or 15 years ago, we weren't really thinking of the kind of ways we've developed oil and gas since.
We are dealing so often with unknowledge and unforeknowledge. So with that clear idea that we don't know the future, we can't just forecast. We can't create a model, turn a handle.
I think scenario planning is perhaps the most important analytical tool we have. And Shell is and has been the most important innovator in that process.